Teofilo Stevens. Is he as great as he used to be? Is he getting a little heavy there in the midriff? We'll find out when he goes against Jimmy Clark. There he is in a few minutes. And in the right-hand corner of your screen, barely visible, the great man, at least in the past, Teofilo Stevens. He is now 29 years of age, 6'5" in height. That may be a little bit extreme. He weighs in at 233. In the backdrop, the introduction now of Jimmy Clark, Teofilo Stevenson having been previously introduced. Under any circumstances, the U.S. against Cuba today has come down to this.
Afro Svengalis, of course, there's a reason why I played this boxing clip. And you see this photo here of Teofilo Stevenson, the greatest Cuban boxer that ever lived, and Muhammad Ali. Now, Stevenson is my favorite boxer. And you know why? Because when I first saw him as a child, I instantly fell in love with him because he reminded me of my uncle. He looks just like my uncle. Everyone else is saying, well, he looks a little bit like him. And my uncle said, my Uncle Calvin, is it because he's tall like me? I said, no, look, he looks just like you. So that's the mind, of a child, but it's also the mind of an adult. I gravitate to people because they have some qualities and traits that remind me of people that are very near and dear to me. That's inevitable. That happens. Why am I saying this in relationship to this video about King Kong Crazy? If you noticed, if you're not into boxing, I'll point it out to you. You saw how the referee had the two boxers touch the gloves, go back to their corners, and then when the boxing match starts, tell me if I'm wrong, people. Don't both boxers start out facing each other and the referee starts the fight and we hear the bell? Am I correct on that? Or is one boxer's back turned and the other gets to wail on the other? Well, this is how it's been with KKC. With your back turned, he starts wailing on you for no reason at all. So I wanted to come on here and address it because there are some things that I heard in the clips. I just listened to a few more of the clips that were sent. And I wanted to address some of the things that came up in that interview he did with that abusive anti-ADOS freak. Oh, yes, very important for me to point out some things. There is one situation where people have a different perspective, and there's a whole different situation when people are straight up lying on you. So I'm going to be pointing out straight up instances where King Kong Crazy lied, just lied specifically on me. We know he's lied on Gerald, but I'm going to talk about some examples of those lies and how his conduct very clearly is just like a boxer wailing on the opponent when the opponent's back is to him. Well, in this instance, when my back was to KKC. And since he got so agitated with my concerns that I was in physical danger, that's a metaphor that I'm bringing forth. It certainly feels that's what he did. It's called backstabbing. He backstabbed me, he backstabbed Reb G, and we are not the only ones he did this to. I'm going to describe for you at least 3 lies that KKC has been telling or told. But before I do that, I want to get something out of the way. I found it amazing when I was listening to these clips, how KKC thinks of things that aren't even important to me, but he acts as if they are. And let me tell you what those issues are. Subscribers to a channel? I don't have any concerns, nor do I give a crap about how many subscribers and number are on this channel. When I first started out on YouTube, I had no idea what the word subs meant. Remember, I was brand new and people were typing in the chat, in the comment section, you don't have any subs. You don't have me. I don't remember the number that was on the screen. I was asking people, what are they talking about? Because remember, I was giving content about Umar and then these comments about subs. Someone said, no, they're talking about the number of subscribers to the channel. And I'm going, well, I'm not even thinking about that. I'm trying to get this message out about Umar, and they're talking about subscribers to a channel. Someone finally told me, you can just turn that off. So I turned that off, and those comments ended like a couple days later. So every time something like that happened, I'd go back to Gerald and say, well, guess what? He says, well, I was trying to tell you that, but I wasn't listening. I was just so busy trying to get the content. I didn't know how to turn off I didn't know how to stop people from just leaving all these rude comments. Every time I go back to Gerald, I was trying to tell you. So I gradually learned how to get the channel to a space and a position that other people were asking that it be, which means people coming here weren't going to be under attack because they didn't agree with Umar. And then the other issue is about how many people look at the video. That's not important to me. I'm assuming these things are important to KKC because they mean money. I don't care about that. People who view the video get the benefit from the video. It doesn't matter if it's 1,000, or 1 million. I don't care about those things. You care about those things because I guess it's revenue. This channel has never been monetized. I never considered monetizing the channel. So number of subscribers and the number of people who look at the video is not important to me. What is important to me that somebody pointed out that YouTube has started a policy that's going to be implemented any day now, that you get to see the number of subscribers on a channel. That helps determine if someone is faking with your channel or they're an imposter. I'm very much interested in that. Aside from that, I could care less. So you're talking about things that don't matter to me. I'm going to talk about the things that matter to me that have to do with KKC. So here goes. I wanted to point out where the lies that King Kong Crazy continues to spew about me and Rev G. I'm going to be specific about a couple of areas. A lot of angst about being tired of people talking about him. Well, everybody has a different reaction when people say things about them that they claim to be untrue, or it's inaccurate, or they think it isn't fair. But the one part that KKC misses, disregard for how other people feel when the same is done to them. Everyone has the choice about whether or not they elect to respond, what forum they're going to respond in, how they're going to respond, what demeanor they're going to have. We all reserve the right to express ourselves in the way that we so choose. Unfortunately, King Kong Crazy feels that just applies to him. Well, we have been quiet for a long time for many different reasons, but there comes a time when truth just needs to be told. Whether somebody accepts it or not, again, it's your choice. One thing I have to be clear about, I am not seeking to appease anybody that's rocking with KKC. It doesn't make any difference. But what KKC is trying to do, he's trying to target those who support me. He's very resentful that I continue to have support. And let me explain to you how I know this. After KKC stated, this was around the time when the issue about Remix came up, he stated that he was moving on. He stated he was moving on from me, he was moving on for Lynn and Honor, because I had made a response to the Remix video. I was not involved with the production part. I have no idea what happened with that. But as time has passed, I have a little bit more perspective. I could give a more informed opinion about what I think happened, but what I wanted to make sure was clear, I focused on a specific part of Remix's commentary regarding crime victims. Nonetheless, KKC decided to interpret that as me speaking for him. He got up and he made actually a 95% video that validated what I stated, but he made a specific point to 5% ding me or give me a red buzzer or whatever. So that irritated a lot of people because they know that I really supported KKC. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to just hold off. But I want to revisit that video because of what King Kong Crazy said at one point. He made it appear, he was very clear about this, listen carefully, that we don't even talk to each other. We have no communication of any form. And it had been, he said, I hadn't even talked to AAS in 2 months or something like that, or 3 months. He very clearly wanted everybody to know that we weren't cool. He made a very specific point. And that was a dig that he gave to me. And I said, you know what? I'm going to let him go ahead and say what he's going to say, because his resentment started building. We weren't exactly sure the source of his resentment, but we've since got a lot more clarity by just stepping back and watching KKC do what he does. He gets up on that abusive anti-ADOS freaks panel. This is what, last week or the week before? And stated, I had all of this sensitive information about him. But before, you downplayed our, quote, relationship, for lack of a better word. You downplayed how we interacted. You really threw shade on our engagement. Whatever engagement it was, you shit on it. But how in the world are you now telling everybody that you gave me this highly sensitive information about you? You had a lot of angst about the information being disclosed to the public. How would you give someone that type of information who you claim you didn't have any real relationship with? So you just simply told on yourself. Whatever the case, I'm not like you, KKC. I don't go about being vindictive against people because for some odd reason, we have a disagreement that I don't even know about. As you saw, I sat back and let you do what you do, because I knew you would eventually trip yourself up like you did in that interview. So do you know me or not? Does it really matter at this point? No. So I wanted to point out your lies that you told both the first time when that remix situation was going on, and then when you had that interview, you let the world know that you gave me some highly sensitive information. And for what reason you would think I would go and spread all your shit to the public? You are expecting something of me that isn't me. You insist on trying to place this bad character label on me. And I really don't think you believe it, but you want everybody to believe it because you're so pissed off at me for any number of reasons. It doesn't have to be a real reason. If he's pissed at you, he's pissed at you. That's how KKC is. For the record, KKC is not somebody who just willy-nilly trusts someone. No, this is not the kind of person we're talking about. And I know he's going to say, she does not even know me. And then why the hell are you giving me sensitive information? And I'm not taunting you or chiding you like you do to me and like you do to Rep G. I'm just pointing out the effort that you are putting in to make me seem like someone that's nothing like you're describing. It's extreme. You're trying very hard to paint a picture of me that simply isn't who I am. And you're heavily invested in that. So let me issue a challenge to you. What information about you did I disclose? What information about anyone did I disclose that was confidential? What family photos have you seen? What family videos have come up? What personal information about people have I disclosed? Now, there's one situation, let me sidetrack. There was a person here in these YouTube streets that was extremely foul and disrespectful to me. I don't owe that person any confidentiality because he crossed sexual lines. That doesn't apply to you. But if someone's doing that to me and they're getting up here trying to paint me in a manner that is so opposite of what I am while they were sexually inappropriate, I'm going to tell. I'm going to put that out there. But that doesn't apply to you. And even then, I'm not out here telling this person's real business. There were a couple things that I did say because this person was crossing all kinds of lines. So if that's the case, I'm going to do what I'm going to do. I wouldn't put you in that category because I knew you for a longer time. Although we didn't know each other. It's okay, KKC. You don't have to worry about me treating you the way you're treating me. But I have a right to defend myself when I'm doing just that. You're trying to paint me as an untrustworthy person. You have a right to feel that way. You have a right to say and feel that I am not trustworthy. But a great many people do trust me, and that's something that bothers you. I'll get into that in a second. KKC again emphasized that he was moving on from me, he was moving on from Lennon Honor, and then lo and behold, we get these emails totally out of the blue. I'm not talking to KKC. I'm not doing anything involving KKC. We are on the total outs, which means we're not even talking to each other. But all of a sudden, we start getting these emails. I got, I believe, 3 emails, and Rev G got at least 1 with these sneak panel videos. When I say sneak panel, we didn't know at first it was a sneak panel, but KKC was talking just horrendously abusive towards me and Rev G and spewing all these lies. And we're going, where the hell is this? Where's this coming from? Lo and behold, we find out this is members only. He had a members only panel, and he was talking about how he's charging $4.99 for this upgrade in membership so people can hear exclusive content. How and where this content became exclusive to us, where he was railing on us, mystery remains. It was to the point that people were asking me, hey, when was the last time you spoke to him? Because it sounded as if we were in current communication. I said, I haven't had any form of communication with him in a while. There was one exception. Let me back up. I left a community post on his page. It was not long after that remix stuff was going on, but I have not been back to his chat. We had no ongoing communication, but let me tell you what was alarming about the first sneak panel that we received, how KKC was just unloading on me and Rev G. And it was head scratching, as if we had just got into some big disagreement or something, and we hadn't. He just decided to make all these nasty, rude, disrespectful comments about us. In comes a couple of links saying that KKC put this live stream up. Now, this was a live stream where he was calling me haughty. Like, this is what he was saying about me, haughty. And he was saying things like, better not copy this audio. FYI, KKC, copying audio is not illegal. YouTube will not strike your channel for copying audio. But he was making all these threats. So why make all these threats in a sneak panel? I mean, it was as if we had just gotten into a knockdown, drag out fight in some bar. He was just so pissed off. And I was going, all right, but let me tell you what he stated in the sneak panel. He was frustrated and he was angry because I still have supporters, because there are still people, a sizable number of people who support me personally, support AFW, support this space. And he was pissed about that. He sounded a lot like Dumpsy. I don't know why people still support her. He didn't say Rev G is the only one that rocks with her. He didn't say her and her 5 supporters. No, it was very clear. He was very salty about the fact that people, quote, still support me. Fast forward to that abusive interview KKC did on that anti-ADOS free channel. He stated I didn't have any support. Okay, so if we're not in contact, we're not talking, how do you know what my support base is?